everybody. Happy Friday, the weekend of Mother's Day. So let me just start off by saying, whether you're a fur baby mama or a mama or you've got a mama, happy Mama's Day to everyone out there. Gosh, I can't believe it's the first week in May. So happy Cinco de Mayo. That happened the other day too. This is Between the Sheets. We're on the first and third Friday of every month here on United Broadcasting Network. Follow me on Instagram, QTE Brat, and always Between the Sheets Facebook on Facebook page. We have an amazing guest today. She's fucking funny. I mean, she's not just funny. I mean, she's fucking funny. And then adding her with Jenny McNulty, I have no idea the hijinks and the chaos that will happen on the show, but that's what makes us Between the Sheets. Don't forget, we do live call-ins, 323-524-2599. That's 323-524-2599. I'm going to go around the room, let you know who the ladies are here today, and then we'll just bring on, I mean, Suzanne's here. It's not like it's a big reveal like we're in the studio. Everyone sees her. So we'll just get to her last, pretty much. So I'm going to start with Roxanne Rosen. Roxanne, stop looking at the fucking phone. Pay attention, ADD. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. This has been an absolutely wonderful week with many, many, many good things to be excited about.
It was so nice to see you and Mara, who's not here today, another regular. We actually went out to lunch at Pink Tacos. The food was it's okay. But it was all in all a pleasure seeing you guys in person and giving you a big, like, after COVID hug. Well, it's not after COVID, but you know what I mean? Whatever, COVID vaccinated thingy huggy. So yeah. There we go. Then we have, she hasn't been around in a long time. She's putting her hand up in front of the camera. Are you giving us your fingerprint? Are you that addicted to the computer that now everything is a fingerprint to verify it's you, Jenny McNulty? What have you been up to, my dear friend?
Oh my goodness. Well, I was in rehab. No, I'm just kidding. I should be, but I wasn't. Anyway, I've just been doing my shows, and I'm going to be live in Ventura next Thursday. I'm super excited about that. But I've just been kind of working and having fun.
Also, are you going to do the big room or the smaller room in Ventura?
It's new. When they opened it back up again, they're just going to be having the big room now. So we're
nice
about that. And it's limited capacity. It holds 170. They're only allowed to put 80 in there. So get your tickets quickly because they will fill up.
And who's going to be performing that night?
It's a really amazing comedian named Suzanne Westenhoefer.
Shocking!
Let's go.
Wow, it's the Suzanne Westenhoefer week, month. It should be like
it is.
And then we should just add another month after December, Westenhoefer. You know what I mean? We just like throw that in there. Cheryl Murphy, what have you been doing? What psychic readings and media?
I've been doing healings and readings and going live on Facebook, and Clubhouse is a new phone app. So I'm doing Clubhouse now. If you guys haven't heard of that, another great place to find good people like you guys. And so, yeah, just doing a lot of events with the spring and the summer. We're all starting to get out there. So we're, take it a little bit at a time, but we're getting there.
Awesome. I never heard of Clubhouse, and I did my shoot today with Julie Chen, who's the host of Big Brother. We did our big photo shoot today, and the social media people were there, and they were like, we have to do this thing called Clubhouse. And I got a rundown of what Clubhouse is. So Big Brother actually is going to be the first show, the real show, to be platforming on Clubhouse. So we're kind of excited about that.
Yeah.
So there. Well, do I really need to talk about Suzanne Westenhoefer besides the fact that I keep tripping over her name? Her last name is Suzanne. I can't even spell it right, so I try not to. I just cut and paste. It's just better to just cut and paste when you've got a name like that. But so I have her little bio here. As you all know, I just read it really quick. 25 years, even though she's only what are you, 28, 29, 25 years out of the womb, she came out funny, groundbreaking, stereotype shattering, and brutally honest comedy. She's pulling the punches now. You always do. You were from, I didn't read this. You were a kid from the Amish. Is it Amish or Amish? Amish. Seriously? Like you wore those little outfits and did churning butter and shit? I mean, really?
No, I'm not. I wasn't Amish. I'm from Amish country, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. Because
You're a Jersey girl. You heard of it.
I did. I've been there. And I was thinking, because for a second, that vision crossed my mind of you churning butter. And I'm thinking, no wonder she's a comedian. Who the hell would do? I mean, seriously, like if you were like, whatever. Now you were the first openly lesbian comedian on the Late Night with David Letterman on my network, CBS. Sally Jesse Raphael. You've been everywhere, and you're like you've earned your chops, and you are like sort of like, I don't know, like an icon in the comedic world. I've heard you many times. I've seen you perform a few times with the Andrea Meyerson thing, with Andrea's Meyerson events and stuff. But, I've also seen you on TV and so, we'll just, I mean, most people know you, but for people that don't and bring it up to date. So like, how did you start in comedy? Why did you move this way? How did it happen? What was your first big break?
I wanted to be, I thought ever since I was a small child, I was going to be a famous movie star. I actually wrote in a diary that I'm like, oh my God, 13 years old. And I wrote, I was going to be a famous movie star and live in New York City. So I didn't have that right. And then I would take a series of young male lovers.
You didn't get that right either. Epic fail. But did you ever do the straight thing or never?
Not, you mean like I had sex with boys and dated boys and all that until I had sex with a girl when I was 19. Then there's no coming back.
Right.
Oh, you don't have to fake the orgasm. This rocks. Yeah, I mean, that's the lesbian thing of it. And I started stand up. Oh, this is the worst part of it, Gaye Ann, is I started 30 years ago.
Really?
I'm 1,000.
It's okay. I'm at my job at CBS. I started there in 1989. Yeah. So, I mean, it was, so, we're the same age, which is fine because you know what? We are, I mean, you know what? Like these millennial people, here we go. You know me and my millennials, I don't do hatred of millennials. I just think that they're a bunch of misguided, misdirected, arrogant, chip on their shoulder. They know everything, baby coddled generation.
But here's the thing, because I have gone back and forth with millennials being extremely sensitive when I speak. However, really trying hard to open up my mind last year, I really realized that I don't think they're being sensitive. I think what it is about them is that they're learning at a young age how someone should already be treating them, and boundaries, and what they are going to tolerate, and walking away and not taking life so seriously and enjoying themselves. Because when I did stop to talk to a lot of them, they're actually smart and in their own way, and the way that they view the world is just shaped so much differently. So I blamed so much the Gen X and for ruining the millennials, but on the other side, I really feel like they are just, I'm not going to tolerate this, and I'm walking away.
I think
I want to say
also have we've ruined the planet for them. I mean, their future is precariously balanced on whether or not we can turn a bunch of greedy SOBs' minds around, and for no reason other than for the planet, they're going to give up money and change the way they do things. And I think every generation thinks the previous generation was all messed up and the subsequent ones are all messed up. It's just that now all of a sudden we've sort of chopped it up into many of them. Like back, once the baby boomers were the first named generation, I think.
Right.
That would be me. That would be me, the tail end of that one, which I'm still pissed off at my mother that she just couldn't wait another 8 days and I would have been in the next one.
Yeah, me too.
But I mean, they didn't have a whole bunch of segmented groups of people to judge. And if anything, it's just, we're so freaking judgy from Facebook, you know, and not just Facebook,
Yeah.
MySpace.
Like, who creates, I mean, seriously, who creates this terminology? Gen Xers, baby boomers, millennials. I mean, who actually puts that moniker on generations?
Media.
There it is. Good. I'll go 10 points. You got that. But it is because, you know, I mean, when we think about it, you know, there's just so much, let's face it, discrimination. We just came out of a couple of years of heavy, major discrimination against, you know, whether it's gender, whether it's skin color, whether it's language. It's just, you know, this country, unfortunately, with that dickwad that was president, I mean, he brought it to the surface and he made it okay to be an asshole. And people were just, you know, it was really scary because he brought out the worst in people. And I wonder if those people were just good people and they were influenced because, you know, it was that's who they are, or were they never good people? And that's really scary if they were never good people.
Gaye, and do you think it was that, and I really do, it's always existed, and what he did was there was a permission allowed for the people to say this behavior that they felt, and because of the internet, they can see each other and be all like, yeah, we're all like this, because before they were off in the closet somewhere, so they could only maybe gather 8 of them or 10 of them, and he gave this permission, and it just opened up this sort of hey, we're all like this. See, I have 5 people on Facebook who say the same thing, you know, and
and then the algorithms fed that opinion. And you're looking at the fact that these people that felt that way for 30 years had to be politically correct. And they were allowed to be that. So you're taking this behavior that was already there, all those comments that they wanted to say so bad that they had to hold in. They were woof, out it came. And like Suzanne said, they all felt like they had community because their algorithms showed them like-minded people.
Yeah, and all these buzzwords, you know, all these buzzwords and buzz phrases, it just gave everybody something to hang on to and be a part of, and be that group mentality.
What do you see, Cheryl? Like, you know, I mean, you're a psychic medium, right? So you can see things from different perspectives. Do you? Anything sort of out there that you have seen changing? Is it a cyclical thing that we've all gone through that just played this way now and it was a different way back in the 400s or whatever?
Well, here's the deal, is just a lot of things are crashing right now. You know, a lot of paradigms are crashing and shifting, and we're all moving into that higher awareness and awakening. And a lot of it isn't pretty, you know, and a lot of it's hard and a struggle, or it's a fall down, it's a breakdown, and hopefully it's a breakthrough for a lot of people. But, you know, it's going to take that clashing, so to speak, you know, in order to create something wonderful and beautiful. So yeah, it's all got to come out. We've all got to, you know, air our laundry or filter it or get it out. You know, let's talk about it. And hopefully that's what's happening. Hopefully in all of this, that chaos, hopefully there is some good, meaningful, valuable, you know, communication resources coming out of it.
Well, Can I feel that that's really,
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead, Suzanne.
Go ahead, Suzanne.
First man for Roxanne. If I want to come back and look just like you. You are so incredibly beautiful, which is shallow. And if I can't come back and look like you, I'm not coming back.
Thank you. Well, thank you.
But I think that we also, I've been listening to I have cassette tapes of shows that I did in 94, 95. You know, we were all supposed to tape them, everything like that. I was listening to them recently, and here's the truth. Because I can tell, because I was always saying what was going on in the news and stuff like that, or how they were dealing with queers and stuff. We got better. What? Oh no, we really did. Which means I think we go through it. It gets bared, but we do keep moving on. And I can only say that for our United States society, because every society is going to be different. But we're better already than 25 years ago in a very big way. Like I say something, I hear myself say something and I'll go, oh my God, what was that? Did we think that way? And it's 20 years ago or 18 years ago. And you go, that's not that long.
Oh, it's not. It isn't. I mean, I came out here in 1985 and, I didn't know what I was. I didn't know if I was gay. I didn't know what I was. I think I just said I was bi because I didn't know what I was. And I'd never been with a man, gold star here. But I thought, well, I have to be with a guy, but I really liked a girl. And you're right. Once you meet a girl and you go through that, and it's like that. And I had sex with a woman it was like, oh, it was so clear. And I mean, I remember like one of the first events I went to was Gay Pride in West Hollywood. And I remember they used to have the gates and it was all covered with like plastic. So nobody can look in. No one, it was like our private space where you could hold your girlfriend's hand. And it was like that safe space. And then, eventually in 1999, I became part of the board and did that for 12 years. And even though we made, in the big picture, it doesn't look like we've made such huge strides in our community, but we really have. And it's never fast enough. I tell younger people when we talk about, I'm like, it's so wonderful. Like you can walk down the street. Now you may still get, unfortunately, crazy people that will screw with you and beat you. That unfortunately hasn't stopped, but there is an openness to be able to feel more comfortable doing it. Whereas before, hell no. Now, I remember like my partner lived with me. Yeah.
Even in places that we think of as being gay friendly and have been gay friendly and all that stuff, that's changed dramatically in the past 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Each time you go back, it's gotten better. The key thing you said is about time, because when you're 20 and you go, oh, I'm gay or whatever it is you want to call yourself, and you want everybody to accept it because you did, and damn it, and let's jump on. But you don't look back and go, wait, I didn't know when I was 5, or I didn't even understand sexuality. It took me some time to get here. So like right now, whatever is the hot thing and they're going, you need to respect gender, right? Okay, that's true. And some of them who are younger, they want it now. Right now you have to get with the pronouns. Right now you have to get with all this stuff. This will all happen. I'm now so old, I feel like I can say that. But it isn't going to happen in the time period you like because you're 22 and you're right in the hot minute of it.
Yeah.
And then when they look back, when they're 50, you're right, they're going to go, oh my God, we did change. That's the hard part. Patience. We have to have patience to understand that people have to hear it, learn it, go through whatever they have to go through. And then it just gets, think about who anywhere has heard anybody say anything negative about like a Black person being with a white person.
A long time I haven't.
Yeah,
long time.
Biracial.
All through the 60s and 70s, like if I talk to my older sisters or my God, that was and it was the worst thing you could do. Like you could be shot on the street. Now we're like, really? They care about that?
They care about that. Yeah, and then there was always like the terminology of what they used to, oh my God, it was horrible. And I remember in college. Now my parents were not prejudiced. They were absolutely not. And I remember there was a guy in college named Lawrence, and he was a person of color, and he took a shine to me. But of course, I didn't really go forward with it because I wasn't sure what to do. I just was like, no. And then, because of course I was born Catholic. So it's like, oh my God, the first time I have sex, I'm going to get pregnant. I mean, literally, it was like that whole crappy shit. Wow. So I was like, maybe we kissy faced a little bit. But I remember like thinking, and I don't know why, because my parents were fine with it. Their best friends were, people of color. My parents, but I always thought, oh my God, like what if I brought him home as my boyfriend? And, it wasn't them. It wasn't even me. It was the perception of what others would think.
Correct. Yep.
But now who cares? I mean, now really, who cares?
You have to want change. You have to work for change. But you're obviously going to do that most likely when I'm trying to find light, when you're like 20. And the truth is, at 20, you're not patient enough to understand that just because you now accept this and you want this, that immediately everyone's going to jump on that. And I think the number one thing is you got to want it, you got to work for it, but then you got to be patient to let people kind of grow into it and understand it. I'm in somebody else's house, can you tell?
Yeah, it's like a Spike Lee movie. I like it.
And I think you have to like be patient, but have to continually say
Yes.
and continually not correct people, but go, this is the appropriate way. This is how it has to be until eventually it becomes the norm. I had Suzanne on my show today, and I found this old clip of her when she was on Sala Jesse Raphael in 1991. Section in the middle of it where there was another it was all about lesbians who looked feminine and just the thing, and one of the gals was talking about the word, or they were talking about the word, I think it was dyke probably, or it might have even been the word lesbian, and she was saying, and she was sitting right next to a woman of color, and she just like casually went, it's just like the N-word, but she said it. When Jesse Raphael's show was on, they let it air, and didn't even flinch. It was just like, and she just said it, we can't say, it's like that word right there. They're allowed to call themselves that, but we can't do it. And it's the same thing with lesbian. I can say it, but you can't. And I was just like, whoa, that is there. Second of all, like that poor woman just had to sit there and not, and let that roll over her. And I think it's just got to be drilled into people. And if you got to keep saying they until they get it, until the he's and she's get the they, then we got to do it that way.
We did a show. We had Nick Casey on our show, and Nick Casey is a clothing designer, and he's trans. He's trans.
Gay.
What?
Gay. They,
he's
them.
Not gay.
He's not they, them.
Oh, he's a they, them. And we used to cuss on the show a lot more than we do. And I had a cuss jar, but for that night, we made it a pronoun jar. And he explained, and he literally explained to us like the pronouns and pretty much took us down the road. And I said, okay, after he explained it, it's they, them. And, and the thing that I kept saying is, but it's not proper English, which is where I stumble on it. It's just not proper English. It's not a collective. I mean, when I'm talking to you, I'm not talking to all of the transgender people. I'm talking to you. So the way I got out of it, because I kept going him, and putting more money, I just said, fuck this. Hi, every time I talk to him. So Nick.
You say Nick.
Because, but and then the money we donated to, his fund, we donated it to the transgender because he made a lot of money that night. But the reality is it's just odd. Like I worked with Laverne Cox, and I think Laverne she goes by she.
I'm almost positive too.
But I'm not 100%, but she was trying to explain it to me. But, as a transgender, she even said, I get the they, them symbolic. She said, but it's just not proper English. And I'm like, well, great. It is. If Laverne Cox, one of the most famous transgenders, is saying it, I'm okay. And then
we actually do it. Like if someone does something to your house, whatever, well, they left litter on the thing. We use it when we don't know who the pronoun is. We will occasionally.
Yeah, I really feel like I get that was proper English back in the days. However, we have to relearn proper English now. Yeah. So, for example, I'm a manager and I'm in charge of a lot of people. And when I'm talking to the group collectively as a whole, I'm like, how did you guys like this? How did you guys like this? I have more girls than I have guys. And as soon as it flies out of my mouth, I'm like, oh. And I said, I'm sorry. How do you all like this? How did you all like this? And it's so engraved into the generations that are above millennials to have the male as the norm of default as how are you guys doing for all, right? Even when you speak Spanish, the male is the dominant. And then the same thing with
in any language,
right? So, I try to speak with the person I went out with, the person I'm talking to, they said this. I'm trying to already start practicing that. Of course, I'm not perfect, but I'm really trying. And even just addressing everyone at my work, I'm really trying to say, how are you all doing versus how
I mean, the thing is, when you're in corporate America, and I've been in it for a really long time, really long time, you tend not to do the guys or gals or all that stuff. You just don't. I never have, and when in doubt, call the person's name. But amongst my friends, it's kind of like, hey, but it's true. This country, I'll speak just for this country, because even though I've been around, I've never lived anywhere else, but it's always been the male pronoun, or the male has always dominated everything.
Except boats. Think of all the poor out there that have been called she their whole little boat life.
Yeah, that's right.
Good.
Hey, everybody, you're watching Between the Sheets here on United Broadcasting Network with Suzanne Westenhoefer. Here is our guest. I'm so honored. Please call in 323-524-2599. 323-524-2599. Roxanne went to her therapist today, and she wants to talk about boundaries. So I know she tried to squeak it in a few minutes ago, but about boundaries, but no one caught it. So why don't you tell us about boundaries, Roxanne, because maybe you can school us about boundaries, and maybe Jenny and Suzanne will make it funny.
Let's talk boundaries, people. One thing that I learned, that I've been learning all year from my therapist, she's really been opening up my eyes to see things, is that I'm a giver and I'm an empath, and I give so much of myself to where I end up sacrificing some of myself. And I never really realized how much I sacrificed of myself until she continuously has been pointing it out the first half of the year. And actually,
can I interrupt? I can also tell you, with those characteristics, because I mirror that, we also are another category. It's called codependence.
Well, for me, it was December and January where the lights just really went off on how much I give of myself, to where I'm depleted, I'm left with nothing. And then I would think to myself, well, who's taking care of me? No one. And so she really helped me, and we just talked about boundaries, like who's taking advantage of me, who, like, if you give someone an inch, they'll take a mile because I'm a nice person. And just really just say, no, okay, this isn't working for me, that this doesn't work for me, or it's not going to work for me, and that it's okay. I'm not being selfish, I'm not being mean, I'm not being rude. And then I sit and I think about people that have told me that in the past. And I would think, like, gosh, I might have an adverse thought, but now I look back and I'm like, no, that person was just doing what was best for them. And I really respect that person for knowing that. Some know that I learned at a young age, and some learn at an older age, and I'm learning now. Just really doing what is best for me and taking care of myself and putting myself and my needs first is not selfish. And that's what I'm doing.
I think in the culture, as women,
Bingo.
as women, growing up in the male dominated society, the women have always been the subservient. How many of us have not done anything wrong, even amongst our own peers? And if there's a discourse, how many say, I'm sorry?
Oh yeah. Just by default.
Okay. Without doing anything wrong. I'm sorry. And, and it's like, but I didn't do anything wrong.
Aren't you using it like, I'm almost using it like, excuse me.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
That easily. And it's really hard to deprogram oneself to do that. And I also, I'm a giver. I think we all are. I think most people are givers, unless they're just takers, and then they just need to be out of my life. But for the most part, I think you give to a point, but I think there's a point of giving and then over. And that goes into sort of codependency and people pleaser. And that comes from a deeper thing of abandonment and rejection issues.
Good.
And we want to be accepted. Everybody wants to be accepted. And that happens to me. And a little bit's an ego, a little bit for me is ego play. I don't, I'm not perfect and I got some issues, but a lot of it's ego is I find myself that if I'm rejected, whether it's friendship, whatever, if I immediately go into that, I have to go in overdrive to sort of convince them that I am worthy. And the point is, you have to realize, what, I am worthy. Yeah. I am worthy. They don't appreciate me. Maybe they don't appreciate me. Maybe they don't appreciate what I bring to the table in a relationship. So maybe maybe that's not a good relationship, So it's always looking at yourself and how many people when a breakup happened, okay? How many people here have said, what did I do?
Right.
What did I do? Why does it have to be my fault? But why do we always go backwards? And it's because I believe it's sort of trained that way in some bizarre way that we're not good enough. There's got to be, if something doesn't work out, it's got to be our fault, which is ridiculous because if there's an issue, it's 50-50, not one person, unless you've beat someone or abuse them, that is completely like one-sided. But for the most of us, we're going through life, we make mistakes, we make judgment calls, we stumble and fall, but it is what I think I learned in the past couple of years, it's awareness.
Oh, yeah.
Awareness, to be aware. And if you have made a mistake, don't have your pride. I mean, then say, I'm sorry,
Wait, I'm going to, okay. This is my interrupting of that. I just want to say this, and it's about boundaries and everything. And I've been in therapy like a million times for a long time. I mean, I've always done it. Part of it, just but not all of it in ours, and we're only talking our society, obviously in our culture, we live in a patriarchy, and that has a certain, and so everything you just said, Gaye Ann, like most women would go, and guys would be like, nuh-uh. That's been trained, and some of it is probably science and biology. There's a boy, there's a girl, they have to have kids some way, they had to figure it all out. But the thing is to accept and understand that you're living under a man's idea of what culture should be. If you remember that every day, and then like sort of ask yourself, well, wait, this isn't working for me. Why is that? And try to look at it. The hardest part is try to look at it how you would naturally look at it from your own female perspective. And don't think about what men would want from it. Your head will explode because you go, I'm literally just doing this because this has been trained into women since the beginning of this culture.
True.
I don't need to do this. I don't gain it. Like here I am, a lesbian. I have like maybe one straight male friend. I barely even play with straight people because I've gotten old enough that I can be with people I like, which are lesbians. But I still find myself going, oh, I'm sorry. Like we just said, that's a trained in thing, and it's patriarchal. And they all are. We don't want to admit, I feel like we don't want to give men the credit, but that's not what it is. It's truly their society, and we've been trying to exist in it. And in order for us to feel better, we have to come out and honestly say, oh, I'm doing this not because it's comfortable for me or what I wanted to do. I'm doing this because this is what women have been expected to do, what we've been trained to do. And I think with the next group of young people that are coming up, a lot of them are trying so hard to not have gender. And I'm going, okay, but wait 1 second. Could we have a matriarchy for just a minute?
Mm-hmm. Let's not go for the utopia. Let the matriarchy come into play for a little bit.
Would we just like see what would happen if it were just the chicks ruling it? And then break it down and find the best that the patriarchy might offer and the best that the matriarchy will offer, and then create this utopic society that doesn't care about gender. They're trying. Don't try so hard to, because once again, if you think about it, women are going to be erased. We didn't get to do it in the patriarchy. If we become no gender and all that stuff, once again, what a woman feels, how we feel, what we like, what's our most natural stuff is going to go again.
I mean, I have to say, I have to say, I'm so happy how just so far this country's moving with, Kamala. I mean, we've got Kamala, Jill Biden. Let me just say, she is very sexy to me. I find when she was on Good Morning America or something the other day, I just sat there and gazed and went, wow, if I could find one of those, I'd be happy. I mean, just one of those and perfect. But, it's at least, women are having a voice, with this new regime, I'm so happy that we're having, Elizabeth Warren, I still adore her. She was fighting the good fight. I know.
Yeah.
I understand. I'm not saying, I'm glad she wasn't president, but she did put some things in the public. When others weren't, she was out there fighting the good fight. Whether you agree 100% of her politics, I give her kudos for whatever. Same thing with Nancy Pelosi. She's got plus and minuses, but again, back in the day, her, Barbara Boxer, they were Maxine Waters. These were women that really were at the forefront of continuing to move our agenda forward to be noticed, like notice us.
And they get pummeled. And it's almost like they go like this. I don't care. I know I'm going to keep women forefront and children, Nancy Pelosi. You know what I mean? But if you listen to her, she never misses an opportunity to say, and the children.
Yeah, right.
But that's not, I don't think that's something she just does out of habit. She literally, she's going, I know what I want, and I'm going to do that. And people go, boing, boing, boing. And she's like, kish, kish, kish. Right? I love that.
I like that she's kind of Teflon and she's not scared.
No.
I love that she's not scared.
Right.
But going back to boundaries and Roxanne, part of the setting up of boundaries is being comfortable within yourself.
Yes, that actually led the conversation on over to self-esteem. And the lack of self-esteem is what we ended up talking about. Wears 3 masks, and I'm going to talk about all 3 masks.
Not that long, please.
No, it's just about a minute or two. See which one, if any, you wear. Mask number 1 for a lack of self-esteem is the imposter mask. That means you're friendly, but you put up a front that you because you really don't feel like you belong. You have a fear of failure that leads to a problem with perfection. And then it drives competition and procrastination. Then you eventually burn out.
Are these your therapist notes?
Yeah, they're notes that I have taken from studying on this. And then the second mask is the rebel mask, which is you're rebellious, you're in constant anger, not feeling good enough. And so you have something to prove because it's like, oh, nothing hurts me. But yet inside underneath, you're always angry. And then the last mask is the loser mask, where you feel helpless, unable to cope, and someone has to just come to your rescue. So those are the 3 masks that a lack of self-esteem people can wear with a lack of self-esteem. Someone could have just 1, 2, or all 3.
Okay. I gotta say, for me, look, I think we all have a little lack of self-esteem. I think we all do. As women, I think as women, we always do. I think that's just check, lack of self-esteem, check. But, when I'm good at something, I shine, it's like, and I think we all do. And So I think a lack of self-esteem for me maybe sometimes comes a little bit in the dating world because I've not been successful with that. But I mean, in business and other stuff, I am so self-confident that, I'm sure that's why we excel. I think that's why all of us excel in what we do in our business sense, because we have that self-esteem and that cockiness in a way, because we know we're good at what we do. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it. And we certainly wouldn't be recognized for doing it. So I think a lot of the mask wearing for me comes more in personal life. But, I don't like the loser, I'm sitting on, I've never thought of myself as a loser. And I'm not, never. What the first one was, the imposter.
I think a lot of people do that one.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, although I'm pretty blunt, and when I was younger, I think maybe I wore that mask pretty easy, because hi. And now if I'm engaged in a conversation, and I've been told this, I don't think it is, but they're like, oh, you so didn't like that person, or, oh, you were so bored. I'm like, what did I do? You can read your face and your body language like a book. Even your smile is, it's like fake, so, I mean, but I think, we're human. And I think, I don't think there's any one person, and I'm not a therapist, I can't see, besides maybe Donald Trump, and he's misguided, I don't really think there's anyone that has like 100%, like every day wakes up and go, I love myself. No. It just can't. I mean, Roxanne?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. A lot of, so the lack of self-esteem and the confidence that we have are on two different boats, basically. The lack of self-esteem stems more from what we didn't get when we were kids. Like if we didn't feel understood or loved by our parent, or feel valued, or that feel like our parents actually trusted us and trusted our opinion, then that's where the lack of the self-esteem comes. Because my confidence is most definitely over the top in many things, because I know I have decades of experience in certain areas, and I know where I'm really good at. So it's like, it's kind of like two different hats, and I didn't really understand that until today. I just thought, oh, someone with a lack of self-esteem lacks confidence, but no, it's actually two separate hats. One stems from childhood, not getting what we need from a parent, and the other one stems from what we're good at, because we have decades of experience.
What did your therapist say about the masks? Like you're not supposed to wear any of them. You're supposed to address them. What was the point of the mask that?
And my mask better have rhinestones on them. Otherwise, I'm wearing shit.
It's actually just getting down to the bottom of it. It's getting down to, okay, where did this come from? What was it in the childhood? Like, did your parents neglect you? Did you feel not heard? Did you feel not trusted? Did you feel not valued, to where you never felt like you belonged, and you never felt like you fit in? And then, so that's why as adults with certain friend groups, you don't feel like you belong, you don't feel like you fit in, even though you're with the friend groups and you're having a good time and you're all laughing together. Deep down inside, you kind of still don't feel like you belong or fit in.
But, as children, as kids, we perceive things sometimes completely differently than what they are.
Very much so.
And it's like, I was raised, I'm an only child, so, we weren't rich, but I thought I was. Because I got everything I wanted. So I grew up thinking I was rich, not so much. But, and my parents, consistently and constantly praised me and allowed me to do things and gave me opportunities. So, oh, you're so smart, or you're so this, or you're so that. And what was funny growing up, I used to question that. They were genuine. But I used to question it, because my answer was, oh, of course they're going to tell me I'm pretty. Of course they're going to tell me I'm smart. They're my parents. Like, what are you going to say?
Where did that come from, though?
Right.
Where did that
doubt? Who the hell knows? It's doubting. It's doubting. It's like, why why did I doubt my parents? Or, you know, so, and it's like, I don't know where that came from. I mean, we're still stumped about it, but like, it's kind of like where did I develop in my child brain that really hasn't experienced life to sort of look at it from that respect and automatically undercut it to a negative thing?
The thing about therapy, psychology, and the things that Roxanne was talking about and all that other stuff is it's very easy, you know, to try to make these situations that we all fit into. But the truth is, if you have 3 kids raised exactly the same, they're still going to turn out differently. And I think a lot of that too is, and we just don't know what to do yet with it, is we don't know how much each child absorbs. I heard this, you know, and my sister heard it, but she took it this way and she was this way. But it could be just as simply as that when she heard it, she was turning and facing the person and felt their genuineness. But when I heard it, I was shorter, looking up and thought, oh, wow, they're sort of a god and they're saying this negative thing. We don't know all those things. You have to be open enough to allow that. And like if you have a bad self-ego or you have some bad problem and you're going to a therapist, you and the therapist, and I've always thought this and been told that you have to work together to find out what how did you get to this? We constantly try to go, and this is what happens when this happens, and this is what happens when this happens. But it may not. Look at your personal life, own it, recognize it, and go. And so I can look at things and go, I was the 3rd child, and we were poor, but my dad had left by then, and my mom was working, so I got a lot of freedom. So I feel completely more free than my sisters who are like rule followers. And so, don't get all hung up in that. Instead, get hung up on, like, meaning obviously it's good to know where you came from and recognize it and stuff, obviously. And then, but fine, what are you doing now? What are you doing now for you? What are you doing now for your best friends or the people that are in your life to make this better?
Right.
Doing it to move forward, to be, I mean, because looking back can give you information, and then what? What are you doing with it?
But that's your old story. You know, people, you know, I have a really hard time with people, you know, and I call it spirituality, but it's growth, you know, and we always should strive to grow and tap into the past. Yeah, but we can't live in the past because you become stagnant. And, you know, me and my friends call it, okay, that's the old story. You can't keep repeating the old story to move forward. You know, change is hard. Change is hard and it's tough. And sometimes when you know, so I'm trying to be more flexible and trying to see other people's point of views. Now, mind you, you know, I am very opinionated. I have got my point of view from the way I see it. And then I'm sitting there going, well, you know, I know more than these people. That's just a little bit ego. But, you know, but when you break it down, bottom line, it's about listening and communication. Truly. And for me, you know, I am the big proponent of communication and listening, you know, and I'm the one who my friends call to listen. I mean, I listen. They ask for my opinion. Sometimes they don't. I give it anyway. They already know that they're going to get it if you're going to call me. Otherwise, just tell me right up that. Don't give me your opinion, because I am a problem solver. And I used to be a fixer, which I'm trying to get out of that pattern too. But, you know, the thing is, I thought about this and it's like, you know what? I don't really listen. I'm really not listening. I'm hearing what they're saying, but if what they're saying isn't in like the way from my point of view, I'm going to fight because no one's going to tell me what to do and no one's going to change me. Because that was my thing. You're not going to change me. I am who I am. But it's very basic is to listen. If someone says, I don't like you doing this, or I don't like this, why am I fighting it? Why not just go,
okay.
Yeah.
How hard is that? It should be so easy to say that, but it's so easy to revert to, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Or that's you. That's not me. I'm not going to.
Oh, projection drives me fucking nuts. Take responsibility, people. That's another thing. Take responsibility for your actions or for your words. I mean, I used to have a bad temper, not physical, but I used to have a bad temper. And the way I sort of cut someone up is with my mouth.
Oh, me too.
There's nothing my tongue is slicker than a perfectly sharpened knife, because I will go right for that jugular. And the reason why I do that is not because I'm an asshole. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit of an asshole, but the more you hurt me, the more you hurt me inside, because maybe I'm emotionally involved, the more you hurt me, the harder I lash out, because it's out of hurt.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And we do it like, I got into a habit and I saw it finally through therapy. I'm going to hurt you before you get a chance.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like before you, like I see you and I have the same tongue thing, you know what I mean? Where words, and, and you go, to do that right away as soon as you're starting to feel anything for the person. You know what I mean? Because you're afraid, like, they're not going to return it. Maybe you don't think well of yourself, or you just don't think. So you go and you whack, because these are all just defenses. They're all just ways to exist in the world, and we're all just trying to exist. And then we break it down to each culture trying to exist in the rules that the wealthy and the male in every culture, every color, every religion, the wealthy and the male are telling us how to interpret this stuff. And we just keep doing it because we're just trying to exist.
Well, hopefully we're moving into that divine female energy. Hopefully we're moving more into that heart space, that heart brain, hopefully we're setting boundaries with our energy, saying what matters to me, like where am I spending my energy and what am I going to allow or not allow. And really the power of no with compassion and all of that is really, I think, where we're moving to. And the pendulum that you mentioned earlier about the masculine to the no gender, I think it's going to swing, but I think it's going to find that divine female. I think that's what's coming out now, is that empathy that we all have. And I think, we're all very sensitive, and even men but women, we're learning that our sensitivity is a power and it's an energy, and we need some of that, right? We need some for ourselves. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, go ahead,
Suzanne. It's going to be kind of like we're talking about the young generation not liking labels, and as much as we might mock all their different terms for everything, in a way, it's kind of like there will be what we call a feminine energy, what we call the feminine power, but it's just, instead of giving it an A or a B and only those options, because everyone is fluid. Nobody is, all super hyper one thing and all hyper another. So it's like, I think we're all, ideally, if we could all just be, we wouldn't need to have that quote unquote feminine energy. We would have gravitate toward those who shared what used to be called in 21 the feminine energy. In hopefully a few years will just be that kind of a thing, and maybe it won't. And I think in a way I sort of respect that generation's lack of wanting to give anything a label. And if a guy wants to wear a skirt but bang every woman in town, good for him.
Jenny, I'm sorry, I worry, if we only because of science. I don't want to take away the male. I don't want to take away the female. And by the way, I feel 100% female. I never feel anything toward men. I don't have a male energy or anything. I don't even want it. It sounds, I think it smells funny. But
like a locker room.
Right. But if we have where we're all neutral and all that stuff, my biggest fear is, just as human beings, then we will just we'll just exist. Where will art come from? Where will poetry and music and all that stuff? I feel like you have to keep the up and down, the whatever it is.
Why would having a masculine or feminine-ish label on things, why would that affect art in any way?
The duality.
Not having Meaning I don't want to aim for, is that what I'm saying, Cheryl? I don't want to aim for where we're just human beings. Because I feel like then it's almost like I feel then we're like mashed potatoes. Like there's just no definition.
Maybe we're lifting to a higher mind or a higher consciousness of the male female.
How about, let's just take this on to think, how about maybe this is what we needed? Maybe, and we clearly couldn't go from male to female, right? So then the millennials are going from male to they, them, to break away from the male to get to a they, them. And then once we get there, we could get to the female.
And then flip it. I love that.
Maybe the female is the final destination. Maybe we are meant.
It has been for all of us.
But at the end, maybe it is going to be female. And it's, you know, and it's fine. It's all fine. I mean, I'm a woman. I enjoy being a woman. You know, I'm not an ultra femme. I identify as a femme. There's not one male thing in my body except when I walk into my office. I've got to play with the boys so that whatever masculine, it's not even masculine, it's just that a self-confidence, that assertiveness has to come out to be heard, to be acknowledged. You can't just sit there, I won't do it. So, I mean, that's where I guess that energy comes out, is in my business. I mean, and it does too in personal, but you know, I don't
think they're masculine or feminine though. That's weak and strong. That's not masculine and feminine necessarily. I mean,
I agree. But what has happened is because of certain cultures have taken over, they've defined one as masculine as one as feminine. That is what happened. But we all know sitting here, men who are very feminine. I just did it. Feminine in their way of being, like I just did it, I described it, and you knew what I meant when I said feminine, a little softer, a little more, whatever, we knew. But that's literally that's culture. That's not science of us. That's like, and we're creating it, right?
But it's labeling too, because how many people, I mean, I don't know.
That's how we find stuff. Isn't that
it's just weird, because how many people, if there's an actor and you see an actor on the screen and they're not, you know, freaking like Sylvester Stallone or that type of manly chest beating man, you know, and they're just a little bit more softer. How many straight people are going, oh, he must be gay? I mean, seriously. Or if there's a strong woman, oh, she must, I heard she's a lesbian. I mean, it's like automatically these labels are put on. Now, Suzanne, for you, I mean, when did you come out? Like in comedy, when you started, did you come out of the gate right away and say, hi, I'm a lesbian comedian? So you didn't do the hiding part like Ellen and then just come out later?
No, I didn't. I did it, but that's because I did it on purpose. Like, remember, I thought I was going to be an actor. That didn't work out. All of a sudden, you're a bartender in Secaucus, New Jersey. It's year 8.
Secaucus. I was born in in Hoboken. Go ahead.
I saw that on you. And I'm all like, and I was super out, and it was the AIDS crisis was in the middle of all that. And I would go into these things. I'd be like gay pride and gay rights. And I was part of ACT UP and Queer Nation. And then remember the Lesbian Avengers?
Yes,
and I was doing all this. And then somebody said, oh, you're funny. And I'm like, and they were like, why don't you do stand up? And I was like, what am I going to get up there and say, do jokes about my boyfriend? You know, like it would be a lie. And I've never lived a lie. I've been very proud of that. Right. And he was basically like, yeah, you don't want to try. I mean, because I was like, I can't do that. You wouldn't get any work. You won't be successful. And the guy said, and I always remember because he turned, he goes, yeah, because you'll never get another bartending job. And it was such a cut because a bartender anybody can be a bartender almost. Right. And I was like, oh shit, but he's right. What was I risking to get up and say, and make jokes about being a lesbian and that stuff. And I was risking nothing. I had nothing. I was living in an apartment in North Bergen. You know what I mean? I did nothing. So
I lived in North Bergen. Are you lying?
No.
You lived in North Bergen?
Field Park.
Oh my God. Okay. So I grew up on 88th and 4th in North Bergen. Went to Holy Rosary in Union City. Seriously?
Yes.
Okay.
And I lived there for 10 years. So I truly thought, okay, well then, because activism is natural to me. Like I led getting mad at our cafeteria because they wouldn't offer a salad bar so that the wrestling kids, the wrestler boys were starving themselves. Oh, just stupid stuff. So that's natural to me. So I used that natural activism and I got up and I was like, I guess I'll be the only lesbian comedian tonight. Everybody laughs. You know what I mean? And I go, and then I continue on with the joke. And at that time, it was you expected someone who looked like Leona Helmsley, right? That's an old school. And I get a laugh, and then they would be like, "Oh wait, she's serious." I have found that the change we need to enact, from my standpoint, the way I get change done, or that I create change or help change, is through laughter, getting people to laugh, relax. Oh my God, I guess lesbians aren't that bad, which is basically what I was getting them to say in the 90s. Oh, I guess lesbians don't all hate men. Remember that? They all hate men, or they all want to be men. There was all these things, and I could yell and scream, right? But that has its place, but it doesn't. You know what I mean? For me, the way it kind of, and I feel like for everyone, I'd make them laugh, and then they would listen to me when I was sneaking in stuff like, lesbians are this, and we're better at this, and we've got this. They never even heard it, and then all of a sudden they're thinking that way because and that was my way of activism. You know what I mean? July 31st, 1990.
Can I share my screen? Can I share my screen?
Yes.
There?
Can she?
Oh, can you?
You need to make her a co-host.
Wait, what?
Christian, are you there?
Yeah.
What's she doing?
Who wants to share a screen? Can you do it?
Share my screen?
Who wants to share?
Who wants to share the screen?
Is it up?
No.
Let me know when to hit play.
Now it is.
Okay, you're a co-host. You can go now. Share screen. At the
Oh,
bottom
I
of
gotta share screen myself. Okay, hang on.
Yeah, you go to the bottom of your
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah. Hold, please. Oh, okay, hang on. Sorry, I'm gonna do
No
this.
worries.
Eyes.
Okay. There we go.
You gotta get it? You getting it?
Yep. Hang on.
Here we go. Shared screen.
No.
Oh my.
Wow.
Is there volume?
Look at Suzanne's face.
Great hair. That hair is great.
No, it won't stop. Hold on.
In style at the time.
I get it.
Oh, I
look
love
just
it.
like
I
that.
remember that hair. I had it.
We all did. Most of us did.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God, I can't get it to stop. Sorry, guys.
I couldn't. That's, by the way, that's what my mom's been saying. Anyway, I couldn't hear what I said. I'm just assuming. What's funny is I spent the whole time watching that, Jenny, which I haven't seen in 20 years or more, looking at that hair and makeup and going, but
You guys couldn't hear it?
I couldn't.
I couldn't either, but the people,
Yeah, I
I think
couldn't
the
really.
people watching it did.
Hopefully.
I'm not sure what annoying opinion I thought was better than everybody else's that I was throwing out there.
Oh, shoot, I'm so sorry, you guys. Yeah. You were just, oh, now I can't hear anybody. Whoop.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello, Jenny, can you hear us?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
I mean, so
Good.
Suzanne, like that was that was there. Then you was the Letterman show the first like besides that was that after this?
Yeah,
performance?
right after.
And you actually went on and did stand up, right?
No, the first time I ever did stand-up was July of 1990. I was on Sally Jesse. That was January of 91. So it was like 6 months. I mean, I had literally been doing stand-up for 6 months. My career was crazy lucky, crazy for where I just went. I never middled. I never substitute. I never did anything. I went headliner. It was whack.
So how were you discovered? Like who discovered you, or who sort of took you and brought you to that next level, like immediately?
The lesbians and the gay men. Meaning they all went, oh my God, are you willing to say that at our thing that we're doing to raise money for whatever, you know what I mean? Are you willing? And it was, gay people. Oh my God, will you say that at our gay pride? And then you're at like Syracuse, New York gay pride, and there's 9 of you, you know what I mean? Total, in the 90s, remember, this is a very different time. And I was willing absolutely to say it anywhere and wanted to. I wanted the attention. I love that. So I was getting famous doing stand-up, and I had never even thought about being a stand-up. That was, what? I'm not a stand-up. That's like something else. I'm a great actor that I have as a bartender, And it worked because I wanted the attention and I wanted all that, right? And so I was getting all that, and I was absolutely, I was never in the closet, not for a minute, had sex with a girl, talked to my mom like a week later and was like, I'm a lesbian. And I had, for real, and I had been, what I say in my act, a careful homosexual, or a heterosexual. I was a whore, a little bit of a slut from 14 to 18 and 19 when I decided, and so I don't have a coming out story. I was never closeted. I don't have any of that, but I wanted to use that advantage that I was given to make it better for everyone who is closeted, can accept it, has religious parents, or, whatever their thing is. I wanted to make that better. And that was literally my whole purpose, was to make it so that lesbians and gay men would see it and be okay.
That's awesome.
Good.
Hey, well, we have a caller. Let's see who's calling. Woohoo!
What if it's Sally Jesse? That'd be awesome.
Wouldn't it be funny? God, how young she looks.
Hey,
Hello, welcome to Between the Sheets. Who's calling?
Hey, thanks very much. This is Joe Papadenis.
Hey, Joe.
Hi. I'm glad we're on comedy, because when I was calling in before and we were on the other theoretical stuff, I wasn't sure what to ask. Suzanne, you talked about how, somebody said, hey, you're funny, you should be stand-up when you were bartending or, in the cafeteria or whatever. Well, there must have been a point earlier on when you were funny, right? At home or whatever. Can you remember, was there a choice when you were a kid that you used that? Where's the story behind that story? Is there...
You mean to be a comic?
Yeah, like when you were a kid, it sounds like maybe there was a lot of confidence since you came out so early to your mom, like, boom, here I am. But when you were really young, when you started to be funny, do you remember when you first started that and why you went that route? As kind of a natural?
I wanted the attention. That was my main goal since I could stand and hold my head up. And I did it first through mimicking dances I saw on television or mimicking a song, you know what I mean, right? And it was any way I could get attention, so I thought it was going to be acting, that make the sense. And of course, acting is very difficult, and then all of a sudden, I'm in Jersey and I'm bartending at the Hula Hands in Secaucus. And
can I just interrupt for a second? Do you know the Haagen-Dazs across the street? Yes. I was the manager.
No! Oh my God!
Crazy.
God, that's whack. Okay, that's whack. We probably knew each other. So I'm like, I'm a bartender to live, to pay my rent, to eat, right? And then, like I said, I worked Monday through Friday, open through happy hour, which is all the, quite frankly, the alcoholics, but all the men who had jobs, at the corporations that are around there. And I wanted to make money, so I did and said things to make them laugh and keep them coming in for me, right? That was all about money, to live. And it was a guy who said to me, and he said something like, you're as funny as this guy I saw on HBO last night. You should do stand-up. And I'm like, I'm not trained. I don't know how to do that. I don't know anything. And then I said to him, what am I supposed to do? Do jokes like I do here, where I tell you, because it was a completely straight bar. and everyone was straight. But if a guy came in and there was like 5 seats between him and another guy came in and there was nobody else, I would come out and do things like, "Oh, are we fighting today, boys?" It was the 80s. No idea. People were shocked into laughter. Do you know what I mean? They were like, "How is this girl?" And I had a guy come in once who he's like, hey Suzanne, come here. This is Tony. Tell him what you told me. She eats pussy. She's like a lesbian. Tell her. And they thought it was like a sideshow. I got so much attention. You know, and I was an activist, so it worked.
Well, I have to say, I mean, you just say that acting was so hard. I mean, to be a stand-up comedian, I would think would be majorly difficult. I mean, it's all on you. That's it.
What I meant was that getting ahead as an actor in New York, like getting an agent and getting auditions and all that, that was not happening. That was very, you know what I mean? I wasn't getting seen. I didn't, another blonde, blue-eyed girl from the farm country. Yeah, sure. You know, and so, I meant that was hard in that, you know, I didn't have an agent. I wasn't getting anything. I couldn't do anything. And so I was bartending for my living. I didn't mean that acting is harder than comedy.
Gotcha.
Here's a best friend. They're all watching me out there. Thank you. I love you. Thank you, Kathy. And then, so what I mean, so acting is not harder or different than comedy. I'm just saying that for being funny came natural. That must be something I have inside me, like being able to sing, right? You don't know why. And so I was this activist, and so I would make everybody laugh, and then they were like, this guy basically challenged me. Well, like, go do this open mic and be like you are here in the bar when you're making us laugh about your lesy stuff. And I was like, all right, he's right. You know, let's put this on the table. And I didn't think I would make it as a comic. I didn't think I'd be a comic. I didn't think it would be my life until I had been making my living doing stand-up for like, and this, no joke, 2 years, 3 years. And I went, oh, I guess I'm going to be doing this forever. I'm not, it wasn't what I thought.
Well, you know, the difference for me between a comic and an actor is a comic is really authentic. It's the authentic.
That is very different skills, right? One is you're literally playing someone else and making you believe it's authentic. And a comic is being authentic and making you laugh.
Correct. And a comic also has to throw down their vulnerabilities, because it's putting out your vulnerabilities out there and making, like you said, making it like the norm, or at least showing people it's normal. In this case, being a lesbian is really normal. It looks different. We look the same. We look the same. And that's what I really love about comedy, is the authenticity behind it. And, you know, they always say comics are very insecure. Look, I work in TV. They take a lot of comics and they put them, you know, in their own shows. Ray Romano. I mean, I worked on that show. I mean, I went down the list of, you know, comics that had their own shows on CBS. And, you know, they go, oh, comics are more insecure than actors. And I always disagree. I think comics actually are more, as we said, authentic and secure than actors, because you are putting yourself out there. There's no mask. There's no barrier. It's like,
there's no props. There's nobody else. You go out, you're bare ass naked, and you're going for X amount of minutes, whether 3 minutes, or when I do my show and I'm doing 90 minutes, 100 minutes, you know, I'm doing like 2 hours. And you're saying, I will keep your attention and you will pay attention to me for this amount of time, is bold ass bullshit. Even now thinking about it, I'm going, what the how long have I been doing it? I'm still going, what? But you got to be bold. You got to know that. But you also have to be good, because you can be bold and all that stuff and get out there and you suck. Uh-oh. But and that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying that may not be your thing, but you're out there and you're bold and you're doing it and you never get ahead for whatever reason. The fates smiled at me and went, this is how you're bold and aggressive, and you're going to take for the underdog and you're going to get out there and be an activist. Oh, and you're also, because I can't sing, for example, you're also an amazing stand-up like you're going to be able to make people laugh. I was able to go and why am I doing this with my hands, by the way, the whole freaking show? Does anybody know?
It's a Jersey thing because you're not Italian, so.
No, I'm not. I'm Scandinavian, which was a little bit of a shock. I thought I was German. Another story for another time.
23andMe?
Yes. And so, I mean, like, a lot of it is absolutely just extraordinary fortune and timing. Also, think about it. When I started in 1990, there was 4 openly lesbian stand-up comics in the world.
Who were they?
It would be Kate Clinton, Marga Gomez, Leah Delaria, John Williams. I know I'm forgetting somebody, but you know, like that was it, and they were not getting the chance for whatever reason, and I'm sure it's because I was a white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl. Hello, right? They were not getting the opportunity to do it in the clubs and get mainstream success, and they were making their living and doing extraordinary things at women's festivals and all this stuff. I saw them. I was a fan. And I, like I said, again, it's all just fortune. It was all just the luck of it. And I was able to make that happen. You know what I mean?
How did I'm sorry to interrupt, but how did your family react back in the 90s? Did they laugh or did they roll their eyes and cringe or what?
My mom said to me after one of my big show I had in like the first year or two, and I was getting, you know, like $1,000. I mean, it was like crazy, you know, like it was like $1 million or something. And my mom said, honey, it's like you get paid for what you used to have to move your desk out into the hallway for.
That's great.
True. What used to get me having to go to the principal, what used to get me, you know, talking out, making people, I was not a class clown. I mean, being a smart shit. Now I was making my living doing it. What? You don't want to encourage that, you know what I mean, in children or teens or anything. That can't be good. So, my mom and dad are divorced. And I was 2 when my dad left my mom. So he may have, I understand now because I'm old and now I'm finding out things about my dad who's been dead for like 5 years, that he actually was very proud and very excited because he liked performers. He thought maybe he could be one for like a minute, you know what I mean? So he was, who knew? Didn't care.
But even so, even when you were coming out in, I'm not saying coming out as a lesbian, but just coming out.
81, 90.
But there was not a lot of women comedians.
Period.
True.
Period.
Bingo.
I mean, you know, and it's so funny because my mother had an album. Oh God, it was a woman. It was an album. It wasn't a 78, and it was Rusty something.
Wait, no. Oh, I've heard of. Oh my God, I can see her. The redhead.
Rusty something, and she had this little stack of albums. And I mean, I remember going through her albums because I've always been like music, and I came across this Rusty person and waited, not understanding what these like 10 albums were. So they went out, and I'm sitting there, and it's like the old 1950s. You open it up and you pull out the record player, and you put it on, and you put the thing, and you go press it. It goes bink, and it was comedy. And she was so racy, and I was like, oh my God. And it was funny. Mind you, some of it went over my head because I was a kid, but it was amazing. And in that there was Rusty, there was some other Toady Fields,
Joan Rivers.
There wasn't a lot, but
Rivers, though. I think that has to
Bradley.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing was really funny, like, you know, and then like Lisa Lampanelli.
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, I've worked with her for a minute, but you know, for her, she was one that like, I never heard of her. All of a sudden, you know, she was everywhere. And I didn't find her funny. All she kept talking about is like a black man's penis. I mean, that's what, and I know the gay boys just loved her. But where is she now? I mean, seriously, where the hell is she now? I don't know. I mean, granted, no one's anywhere with COVID, but it was kind of like, you know, it's like, there are some comedians that come out there, they make a splash, they get their money or whatever, and then they kind of like go away. But, you know, but they would go away for whatever reason. They go away. Because Lisa Lampanelli's shtick, I'm sorry now, with all the stuff that's going on, would so not work.
Yeah.
So not work. Because, you know, look, I accept pushing boundaries, being politically incorrect. That's okay. But even Joan Rivers, some of her shit would not work now at all.
I'm just going to say, Gaye Ann, thank you for taking my call. Suzanne, thank you for answering the questions. And I think that the hand thing really, all the hand interaction works really well visually. So it's good. Thank you.
Hey Joe, you call in every time. You might as well be on the show. You're gonna have to come in.
Well, I'm gonna get off so somebody else can get on. But thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Okay, Barbara Farley. I don't know if she's still on. She says I have a Jersey question. So Barbara, if you're on, you know Barbara?
No, I said I only lived there 11 years. I feel badly.
I was there from 1963 when I was born till I left in 1985, 86. So Barbara, why don't you call in 323-524-2599.
Rusty Warren. I just looked it up.
That was it.
Yeah, Rusty
That was
Warren.
it. Rusty Warren. And it was just, I mean, it's just so funny. But so Suzanne, so, you know, you were a trailblazer. You still are. What does your future look like? Like, what do you want to do? Like, what haven't you done that you want to aspire to do?
This is so pathetic, but it's still true. I want to have a sitcom that absolutely looks at the way, and Jenny and I are good friends and don't only live a few miles apart, that looks like how lesbians really live, meaning, and find, because I found the humor in it by I didn't make us bigger than life or anything, you know what I mean? But we are special and different. I'm maybe better. I said it, I'm good. You know what I mean? I want to have a sitcom where, and by now, this is so sad, because I'm older than everyone here. I just turned 60, y'all.
No, you didn't.
Oh.
It just happened in March.
Oh, hold on. Barbara is calling in. Hold on. I called Barbara on the carpet. Barbara Farley's calling in. Okay, let's have Barbara on the line. Barbara,
hey guys,
is that you?
This is me.
Hi, how are you? Welcome to Between the Sheets.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good. Good.
Okay, I have a question for you. I don't know what everybody's age bracket is. Hey, how are you?
I'm between 40 and death. Does that narrow it down?
Well, I was actually born and raised in New Jersey, and I was born in 62. So
I was born in 63.
61.
Okay. My question, wait, I can hear myself on the thing. Let me shut that off. My question is, I lived in Middlesex County, and at the time growing up, there really wasn't like a place for, like, if you were gay, anywhere to go. So my question is, like, for you guys that lived in Jersey, was there like a specific place that you would go? Because we'd always take the ferry and go over into New York because we knew there was places to go for gay people. But in Middlesex County, there was no like gay bars, or like there was really no place for gay people to like hang out with each other.
Wait, there was a place in the 80s that I went to that I think was in East Orange. There was a place in one of the Montclairs, meaning I found them in the 80s around New Jersey, but yeah, we generally went into Manhattan too. And then of course, Philadelphia, if you were on that section of Jersey.
I mean, I never went to a Jersey club because I hated New Jersey. I thought New Jersey people were so backward and I was so far ahead of them. So I would always, I was in Hudson County. So we always went to the city. But I didn't go to gay bars at all. I never went to still to this day, I've never been to a gay bar in New York where I went to the Saint, but I used to hang out at Studio 54, the Limelight, Visage, Red Parrot. Yeah. I used to hang out in what they were called these straight bars. The reality is, in the 80s, when I was there, and I went into Limelight, it never felt like a straight bar. There were men together, women together. everybody together, and that is, I think, part of how I grew up, sort of open-minded and thinking when I came out that it was okay to come out, because I never saw that sort of segmentation in the clubs. I thought it was okay. So it wasn't like all of a sudden, I go to straight clubs, and all of a sudden I go into the Limelight, which was my second home. And I'm like, oh, 2 women kissing, 2 men kissing. Oh my God, 4 people, making out or doing mini orgy on the couch in the back. Or it never fazed me. It never fazed me, because it was, to me, natural and normal, because everybody in that space was accepting of it.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
And I thought New Jersey was kind of backward. And I got to say, so was LA. When I came out here in 1986, coming from New York, living a year in London, because in London, Europe was always, at least in London in the 80s, very open-minded, as much as New York could be and was. I come out here and I go into a straight club thinking I'm going to find that same sort of vibe. Absolutely fucking not. It was straight. And then I was like on the search for gay clubs in California. I was the first lesbian bar I went to, and it was Club 22 in North Hollywood. And that was on Lancashire. And then that was a little later. And then, and then the Palms was always a staple. And then there was Little Frida's, and then Girl Bar came along. And then there was Palette with Caroline Clone. We've all been there. This is our background. And the issue is, it's so, there's no lesbian bars at all in Los Angeles at all. I don't think in Southern California at all.
No, anywhere.
Anyway. And I was very confused with that. Now, Barbara, are you in California now, or are you in still Jersey?
No, I'm actually, I went from New Jersey to California in 1990, and I stayed for 12 years. But I found that Los Angeles, that was like my place, because it was so much different than Jersey, and you could be like openly gay, and they had like a lot of gay bars, like off of Santa Monica, and it was just, I thought it was very trendy, and I felt very at home. But now I'm in West Virginia. Now I'm
wow, you just went backward.
But I found my wife in West Virginia, so it's like you got to go. Got to go where it is. But like my time in Los Angeles were my best times, because everyone is, if you have 2 mothers, or, you're gay or whatever you are, like I found them more accepting than it was living in New Jersey.
Yeah, well, no doubt. I mean, I wasn't openly gay. I didn't know what I was when I was in New Jersey. So I didn't but I knew I was different.
Yes.
I knew
I went to Catholic school my whole life, and I was in love with a nun. I'm like, there's something wrong here.
Okay, that was. I didn't go there. I was in love with the Spanish teacher, and she was not a nun. She was Cuban. But I was, we were talking to a few of my friends about the plight of the lesbian bars, because there's guy bars, but the lesbian bars. And then I was talking to a younger generation, and they said, well, why is there a need for that anymore? Because we're accepted. We don't need to have our own space anymore. And, I get it, but I don't get it.
No, because when we get together, and we create a women energy, and there's something that's different. And listen to me, I learned at the foot of separatist lesbians in the 80s and the 90s, the same way, because they would say, you go to a festival and they would say, this space is just for women of color, or this space is just for Asian lesbians. And some white women, of course, would go, why do they need that? We're all just lesbians, whatever. You know what? It's okay to have these spaces where because once again, I feel like I'm just saying this over and over again, we are living in a patriarchy under a white male wealth rule. So everyone who doesn't fit in that place sometimes needs to get with the others so that we can go, everything is good. And there's something that happens when women, I just went through it like 4 days ago. My stepmother, my sister, we were helping a goat give birth, like you do. And, but But and all of this, my stepmother's 80, my sister's like 52, I'm 6. Like we felt that, and there's this goat, she's trying, and it takes hours and hours and hours. And there's something that happened. And because her husband wasn't there and there was no man there, we almost held hands and levitated. I am not kidding. Because it's a woman thing. And I don't see those women all the time. They're not lesbian. It's just my stepmom and my half sister, right? It was just what's happening. We're doing, and we're helping the goat. We're going, it's okay, honey. We got you. And we're rocking and this whole thing's happening. I'm going, that is a woman thing. And why do you want to let that go? Women's bars aren't about meeting to find someone to fuck. Men's bars will always exist because boys want to find someone to fuck, meaning that's not why they all go there or anything, but they'll always exist because they make their money on boys going back and going back and going back to meet somebody. Women, we meet somebody and we go, and let's create a home. And you know what I mean? And that's good. There's nothing wrong with that if you want to do that. But it's okay for us to have spaces. And if that's bars, great. If it's festivals, great. It doesn't matter. But don't just go, oh, we don't need that anymore because we're accepted, because that was not just about acceptance. It's okay to also honor that you're a woman and have other women and kind of just be out from under the patriarchy for 10 minutes or an hour or whatever. It's a good thing. It's very positive. Anyone here who's ever been to a women's festival knows, and you can go with such an attitude, women's festival, this folk music's so stupid. After 24 hours, you're like, oh, because there's no men there and something happens. We get lifted up and it's different, and you're not trying to fit in. You do fit in. You created the rules because they're your rules.
Straight women for a while there, they would do these things too, and they called them book clubs to get the hell away from the men and have their own cocktails and canapes and just eat shit food and dish the dirt. And women, it's that bond that women create. I'm sure men, do their own thing, they call it sports. But I do not. And so, I like to sit and talk, I like to get deep, with my friends, and you can really have it with girlfriends. And it's like, I don't know. Yes, I do a million hypotheticals. I'm a little philosophical. I'm a little out there. But you know what? It's that connection that I feel with people. And I think women can get to that level without feeling threatened. Actually, when we all get to that level, I think we rise to the occasion. And there's nothing better than to be in a circle of women that are supportive and understanding. And I don't know if guys have that. I don't know. I'm never around guys. I really am not. Never have been, But I know that it's this energy with women coming together that there's nothing like it. And I get this energy not only with lesbians. I've got straight women friends. It's that same energy, And
I totally agree. But let me just throw this out there. We are all of the same age group. Could it be that we feel that way because of what we have experienced through our life? Maybe they haven't experienced that. If you look at a sports analogy, when I
knew she was going to do this. Go ahead.
You'll get this. You'll totally get this one though. When I was watching sports, there weren't female broadcasters. There weren't female sideline reporters. There weren't anything. So they got gross comments. They got all kind of, they got sort of it was the grossness that you would expect. The kids now that are 18, that are 20 years old, they have grown up their entire life with Pam Oliver on the sideline asking questions, with all of these women that they know. So to them, it's not a weird thing. And I totally agree with you. Yes, there's something different that happens when women get together and when we're all together and we're all with our, like you guys like to use the word tribe a lot. When you get with your own tribe, but it could be that tribal nature isn't going to be as strong in the upcoming generations because they look at life differently. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't say that that's
you know what, Jenny, you make a good point.
Ask yourself.
Hold on a second. Barbara, you on the line?
Need this space?
I'm still here. Should I be hanging up?
No. You can listen, stay. I don't care. But Suzanne's getting very passionate. I'm cutting her off. Go ahead.
Oh, Red.
I'm waiting, Suzanne.
I'm just saying, like, think about this right now. Do you think there's a talk show somewhere where there are 5 or 6 males on and they're going, well, we don't need this space anymore, or we don't need, no. I just promise you that one thing, because it's never occurring to them. And yet women are willing to give it up immediately. Oh, well, we don't need it anymore. Oh, no, we can be this, we can be this. Right away, we're willing to go, okay, things are better now in sports, so it's okay. No, keep on and keep creating more and stay together.
Not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that we are looking at this through the glasses of our own such and such years glasses, that we've lived this life, had a fucking thumb on us by the white male rich people.
Nothing's changed, Jenny. It's not, no, I'm sorry. Obviously things have gotten changed. They've changed. Oh my God. Excellent dog. But what I'm saying is we never got to roll. We're still in the middle of getting basically what men have. We still don't make the same money. We still apologize when they don't. Ask any HR person anywhere in the world and they're going to tell you, women come in and go, maybe I should get a raise, or I should have whatever. And men come in and go, hey, I've been here a year, why don't I get more? Boom. All over every company. All I'm saying is we're not there yet where women are even equal. They're not. And so we got this much in the last 20 years, and we're already willing. Listen to you, Jenny. We're already willing to go, and maybe that's all we're going to get. And we should.
I did not say that. I'm just saying that it could be that that's what they feel. They're the ones saying. I'm not the one saying we don't need the gay bars. I hate the gay bars here. I'm just saying those kids that say we don't need the gay bars because maybe they don't feel the oppression we felt,
because they don't understand. I mean, they're coming from, I mean, when they were born or whatever into this, our movement really has gone leaps and bounds from 1985 to now, and that's not that long ago. I mean, I'm still breathing and not in a wheelchair, so it's not that long ago, but we have done these leaps and bounds. But these kids, they don't know any of our history, and I don't think, nor do and I think they don't care really about that. You see, with us, I think with our generation, because we were the groundbreakers, because AIDS really brought the LGBT community really to light and focus. And it gave us something to rally around, to say, notice us, we matter. And that's where our collective, men and women, because don't tell me, I mean, I heard stories back in the day, like a men's bar was a men's bar and not a woman was invited. And then when a lesbian, no man, whether gay or not, was not welcome in the bar. So in our own community, there was dissent and discrimination.
Still happening. You can go to, I just was in a bar called The Vault in Provincetown, I want to say not even 4 years ago. And I went in with two women, and it's a boy fuck bar in the back, but kind of a little tiny bar. And as soon as we walked in, they went, oh no. And they were like, do you have to be in here? And the one guy was like, and it's only because he knew me and I performed in town was I allowed to stay there with 3 girls. Listen, if you think, and I don't feel like, and I get, Jenny, you're saying maybe they won't feel it, but they will. As soon as the women start to try to do one thing that isn't already planned out for them or gained for them by the women from the 60s or 70s or whatever, and they're going to go, well, what? Wait, I'm still only making 89 cents when the guy's making $1? What the fuck? Like, it's going to, and that's still true. And until that equality, whatever happens, it's okay for us to fight for it and say we deserve space and stay women positive and all the things that sound really goofy and old school from the 70s. But we didn't get the things, we didn't get all the things we want yet.
Look, I'm thinking, I think at least in LA, I think one of the last female lesbian trailblazers is Robin
Tyler.
I mean, Ivy Bettini, she just passed away, So, I think Robin is the last, I think, of that generation that was very in your face vocal, and when you think of the LGBT community at the time, I know you had Harvey Milk in New York, but in LA, it literally were the women that brought it to the forefront. Those women were the ones. So, in New
York during the AIDS crisis, because the boys were dying and the girls weren't, honest to God, and this is politically incorrect to say, but the girls weren't getting it and they weren't dying and they didn't know why. We didn't know why, but we knew we had to take care of our brothers, and we did. Will they take care of us if we all get something? We don't know yet. The fight is not over because we gained this. We can't go, okay, that's
Suzanne,
good.
it goes beyond gay straight. We have a pandemic right now. Who the fuck's taking care of each other? And that's on the basic bottom line, because this has become the me fucking generation. It's like it's like, it's just the me generation.
But wait,
for themselves.
You remember in the I think in the 70s or the 80s was the me generation. They would say it on Saturday Night Live. So I don't remember which one it is. But all I'm saying is young people go through, all of us in our 40s, 50s, and 60s going, oh, they're so selfish. They're so selfish. That happens every time too. All of a sudden, a lot of these women are going to want a place to perform, a place to hang, or whatever. And it's okay for us to continue to support that. And yes, they are right now. They're going, no, it's about gender and whatever. That's okay. But they're also all of a sudden going to learn, hey, there's no gender. And yet I'm getting paid less. That seems weird. So it's going to come up again. The women who are 18 now are going to get to be 25 out of college going, why the fuck can't I don't understand. I've been working here, whatever. How do you get the promotion? How do you get the raise?
Well, you know what? One would hope, I just hope. I mean, we can be cynics, which I try not to be. As I get older, I'm very cynical. I try not to be as sarcastic and cynical. It doesn't work. But I mean, one would hope that, we are going to move in that direction, that, we won't be having, I can only have hope. I think a lot of stuff that has got me through in life is having hope, is saying, it'll be better. Not maybe, or can it be?
I'm so sorry.
Better. And it's about, having a voice like we all do in whatever aspect we are. And even if you're not on a podcast or not on a TV show or not wherever, it's still, just because you don't have this voice like we all do on this podcast, and it's not about having a loud voice or having the voice. It's about having a collective voice. Yes. At whatever level that you're at, we all make a difference. We all will make a difference. So, whether we're gay, whether we're lesbian, whether we're transgendered, whether we're Black, Asian, we all have a voice. And it's having hope to know that if we keep on fighting the good fight, and we fight it in all different ways and use whatever forum that we can, even at the bottomless level, it starts even in a bar with a small group of people having a discussion that is just as important as Jenny or Suzanne or myself getting on a stage at Gay Pride or a festival, saying it, or being on television. I said, please do never squelch your voice. You want change, you've got to speak out. And I've been the activist. I've marched with ACT UP. I pretty much, my life is parallel to Suzanne's in a way. But, it doesn't necessarily mean the loudest voice matters. Sometimes it's the softest voice that gets the ear and that gets change in motion. So I'm going to wrap up the show right now, but I just want to thank you, Suzanne, for your passion.
I feel like I got way out of hand. I'm sorry.
We've gone on a really long, do you realize it's almost 2 hours?
My friends are out there going, we allowed to come back in? What's going on?
Well, I just want to say thank you for being a trailblazer. Thank you for doing all that you do and continue to do, and not being quiet, being as authentic and funny and real. So, you are 60, but who cares? It doesn't matter. It's just an age, and you look fabulous. You look hot and sexy, and you're married, so you're off the market. But as she rolls her eyes, big eye roll. But I just want to thank you on behalf of this panel, of myself, for being who you are and doing what you have done and continue to do. It's an honor really to know you, and it's an honor to have you on my show. Yes. So thank you, kind of Jersey girl. Remember the bagel place next to Haagen-Dazs? Yeah. Theater? We used to trade all the time. Haagen-Dazs for bagels, Haagen-Dazs for...
And every morning, and I got the sesame thing.
I got it. We got, when you would live in LA, right?
Yeah.
Well, we have to all get together and talk Jersey talk. But I want to say thank you. So this is your time right now to sort of promote what you're doing where you have, what your handle is on Instagram, your Facebook page, and if you have a show or anything going on. This is your chance now.
Jenny and I have a show in Ventura next Thursday. It's live. You'd be insane if you didn't come to that, because neither of us have really been live for a while. And for all the, just remember that no matter what you're doing, if you're not the wealthy white man, you are being oppressed, and it's okay. But meaning, like, we can, like, don't turn to other women and worry about them. They are your friends. Don't turn to other people of different colors, whatever. They're your friends too. It's the people in charge. Let's topple them and stay together. And
don't you have a show? Because I heard you had one of my best friends on your show too, Sharon Glass.
Yes, I also have a show on Women on the Net, a talk show. Oh my God, I have all kinds. I'm not good at promotion. That's good. You guys know how to do. Everybody knows how to do Google, Suzanne. Whatever shit will come up.
That's her publicist, and I am a publicist, and that's great. That's why you need to hire. That's why you hire people like me, because you're like, just look me up on Google. The shit's all up there. But thank you so much. Roxanne, tell us a little bit about you, love. What's going on with you?
I just want to say, I made all these wristbands. I don't know if you could see it, for my team. Faith, courage, strength, hope, and it has these beautiful sayings from Martin Luther King, Mark Twain, Gandhi, and that's just what I've been up to. It's just really getting into taking care of me, taking care of everyone around me, teaching people how to believe in themselves, and just having the strength to live a life that they're passionate about. COVID really got people to realize that they were not living a life full of passion. And I have hired people on my team that I never thought I would hire, like engineers. They're coming into sales so they could be passionate about something, and it's amazing. So that's what
Roxanne, where can people find you? On
Roxanne Rosen on Facebook.
Thank you. Cheryl Murphy, what do you have going on? What are you promoting? What are we doing?
Yeah. Guys, you can always find out my upcoming events on my website, mediumcheryl.com. Also on Facebook, Instagram, Medium Cheryl. I do have some events coming up. And I'm always doing my readings on Zoom and over the phone still. I'm still kind of not out in public demonstrations yet, but I will be soon.
And Jenny McNulty.
Jenny. Find me at Large Jenny. No, I'm kidding. So it's a little play on I am so darn funny. I am a Jenny McNulty fan. I'm taking a brief hiatus to rebrand my show. It was the in-house comedy chat. It is now going to be Chat and Go with Jenny McNulty, because I'm trying to get people up and going, and we're not going to be very much longer. So I'm going to spend the next week or so rebranding that and starting that live. I've got a show with Suzanne next week. Also helping one of the segment producers on Suzanne's show, which is Saturday, May 15th on Women on the Net. So you can look that up at womenonthenet.net to find Suzanne's show.
Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you, Tony. I think you're still there working the boards. Everyone, thank you again. My message, I said it earlier, is hope. Let's all have hope. I care about all of you. I appreciate you supporting us and everyone on my panel. QTE Brat on Instagram, Between the Sheets podcast. The show will be up, that's on Facebook. The show will be up everywhere, like on all the iTunes and Google Play and all that other stuff. Also, the video version will be on YouTube, Between the Sheets with Gaye Ann Bruno. And to see you in 2 weeks. We're on the first and third Friday of every month. And on May 7th, which I think is a Friday, we will be having a clairvoyant on. And she's a woman in our community, and her name is Amadeus. So, Amadeus will be coming. Your sister recommended her, Jenny, to be on.
She's awesome. She's adorable.
I tried to get your sister and Sonia on the show, but because they just got that deal, they just won that award. They're not ready yet. So I'll let the princesses just glide on that when they're ready. My sister also is a wonderful artist, but right now we have Amadeus on. She's on Facebook as Amadeus. I don't know really much about her. We're having a call when she gets back to sort of me do a pre-interview. So I just want to say thank you, everybody. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Roxanne. Thank you, Cheryl. And thank you, Jenny. And thank you guys. As always, be safe, be well, and namaste. Have a good night.
Namaste.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.